I'm done. No more gear loadout videos. What's up, backpackers? I'm Dan and welcome to Backpacking Adventures. And on this channel we talk about backpacking, hiking, and gear. If you're new to this channel and those interest you, consider subscribing. Make sure you hit that bell notification so you don't miss any of my future videos. So I'm done making gear loadout videos and I'm going to tell you why. So I just said I'm not going to be doing gear videos. We've all watched those videos from all the big backpacking YouTube channels. We see their gear and then we immediately go out and buy it and we think, wow, that's the only gear I need to take for winter, spring, and summer. Well, it's not. Look, I am completely addicted to gear. I got gear everywhere, little gadgets, little different things to take backpacking, all different kinds of tents, quilts, you name it, everything. And if you're like me, you probably watch a lot of gear loadout videos on other channels. But every time I watch those videos and then watch their following videos of them actually going on a trip, I see different gear. So why do a video on your 3-season or winter gear when it's going to be changing? I know mine does. I even have these videos on my channel. But every time I make these videos, I think to myself, it's almost like not being totally truthful. Reason being, every time I make one of these videos, you may hear some comments from me like, this really isn't the end-all be-all. I switch out my gear throughout the year, and that's true. I don't have a set of gear that on the first day of spring I cut over and that's my gear until it gets to winter. A lot of backpacking channels, when you watch them, they talk about their gear saying it's for 3-season, and if you're new to backpacking and you watch some of these backpacking channels, you're going to get the impression that on the first day of spring they switch over to this gear and that's all they have. But that is not true. And if you think every backpacker takes the same gear on every trip, you're wrong. I sure don't. Every trip I take, there's always something either going in or going out of my gear. Maybe even something new because, hey, I'm addicted to gear and I just like having gear. So when I'm planning for a trip, I take a lot of things into consideration. The weather, the terrain, etc. So my gear is going to change from trip to trip. So for someone to have a video, and of course I've done it, but to have a video that says here's my 3-season gear end all be all, it's just not true. And as an example, I just had a winter gear list video not too long ago. I just went on a backpacking trip to Soanes Pond. It was in the 20s, wind chill of 4 degrees. It was cold. I definitely needed my winter gear. But 2 days before that, it was almost 70 degrees. I could have well have taken my 3-season gear or my summer gear, whichever you want to call it, and been totally comfortable. So as I go throughout the year, throughout the trip, basically I have trucks and cars. Basic to explain it, I have one giant set of gear, and believe me, it's a lot of junk. A lot of stuff everywhere. And as I plan, things go in and out. As it's cold, I add my lower temperature gear, and as it warms up, I add my lighter temperature gear, and it's a gradual process. And then the same thing happens going into winter, summer, fall. It just adjusts as I go. More clothes, less clothes. Here is another perfect example. You watch their video of a 3-season gear loadout, then maybe a month or two later, they're going to go on a week-long or 2-week-long trip that's for a lot of miles, and they do another gear loadout video, and guess what? Their gear is all different. And that's the reason I'm no longer doing the seasonal gear loadout videos, because I think they're all BS. When you're looking at these videos, take them with a grain of salt. Try not to look at them as, I need to get this gear and this is what it's going to be for 3-season. Now, if I'm going to take a long trip or a through hike, I will do a gear loadout video prior to going. I think those are important. The gear loadout will then be specific to a certain circumstance that could be helpful to other backpackers. Again, there's no magic cutoff on days you switch from this gear to that gear. You know your gear. Make sure you do your trip planning, you look at the weather, and you take the gear you need every time. Don't think that you have to be in this little box of specific gear you have to take and potentially be uncomfortable or even be in a dangerous situation. Those are the reasons why you're not going to see any more seasonal gear loadout videos from me. I hope that doesn't hurt your feelings. So tell me this, does your gear change from trip to trip? I bet it does. Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe and give it a thumbs up. And as always, thank you for watching. See you next time.